And how do everyone, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty. You know, Kevin Miller just poked his head in the studio because he does his show at 8 o'clock in the morning. You were on his show here a couple of weeks ago at the Idaho Athletic Club.
Yeah.
I'm going to use, they probably didn't teach you this at Arizona State, but since I'm an Idaho grad, you're ubiquitous. I mean,
Yeah.
you're all over the place, everywhere at once.
That's marketing, right? I'm trying to get on everyone's show is my point. Kevin's a great guy, by the way, and he just stepped out of here, but that was an experience in itself. And he's if you never had the opportunity to meet Kevin, he's a funny guy too.
Well, I think he has the same philosophy as you do, Chris, about being positive. He's on a mission to put Idahoans back to work, and in particular, that's why you were on the show. He's talking about all the stuff, in particular in Meridian. You know, you drive down Eagle Road. Yeah, I know Big Owls is going on, but Little Owls and Tiny Owls and Rosars. I mean, you go down the list. All the jobs is what I keep thinking about. I mean, I know D&B just hired 40 people last month.
Right. Oh, yeah, and that's the same thing, Kevin. We discussed last week on his show. We discussed the other things. Like Toby Keith's now committed to bringing his place up there, his restaurant or whatever it is. I guess it's called I Love This Bar or whatever.
It's called Red Solo Cup.
Is that?
Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So, but yeah, that is the thing. And that's what I love about Kevin too. You talk about Kevin or like Aaron. We're talking here, and you talk about job creation, and everyone. You know, that's the whole point of the positive optimism portion of the show. Is the fact is things are going to change. Things do not remain stagnant and horrible and doom and gloom forever. And I know we've had some rough times, but you know what? We're moving on. People in Ada County, Boise, Kenyon County in general, and I can just feel the spirit, you know, kind of everyone lifts each other up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like the sounds of that, and you led into it. We talked about it last segment, but it's Aaron Seehawer of Concierge Legacy. Aaron, of course, I've known you for a number of years, and I know, obviously, working with Chris, he only brings top shelf guys to the program. You moved here in 1996, so you've been around the area for a long time. What is it you love so much about the area, and in particular, the people, your clients you get to work with?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I got here in 1996, was working for a firm out of San Francisco. Fell in love with Idaho. I can still remember the day I landed here, and it was summertime. It was a great place, and actually moved away for a couple years. Was down in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, and I was just telling Chris, you know, we witnessed that whole boom and gloom and doom of the whole real estate market, and we came back here because people are great. The air quality is a little better than Phoenix, and bottom line is it's a great place to where we wanted to raise our family, and knock on wood, both our kids before and after we came back were both ended up being born in Idaho, and we love it here.
Yeah, Chris, I know you had Van, Aaron's partner, on a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
What is it that attracts you to this Concierge Legacy? And it's not just the name of a company, but it's the people, and you say, I got to get you two guys on our show.
Well, you know, the thing about it too, I guess the whole thing is we always talk about surrounding ourselves with talent, but not just that, is that, you know, Aaron and Van, I mean, it's kind of like the mantra of what they do and really what they believe in, and how they believe that we should take care of our clients, and our clients come first. And that's kind of what I think we've been missing, especially with this new, you know, tech. Everything is tech now, so everyone's texting and everything else. And just before the show, Aaron and I were talking about a client of his. We're just discussing the fact that people still want to be touched. They still want that face-to-face reaction. The meetings, like you and I discussed, you know, last week, where you're saying, "Hey, Chris, you know, hey, we started doing the show. Let's get together and let's get together face-to-face and talk." And I think that's kind of what they bring to it. They bring more of a personal feeling to it.
It's Concierge Legacy. Their motto is creating, protecting, and preserving wealth for future generations. You can check them out at conciergelegacy.com, or you can reach out on the phone at 275-8875, 275-8875. So, Aaron, let's start getting into the nuts and bolts. How does your company differentiate itself from others?
Well, I think there's been an inherent problem in the client-advisor relationship the last, 10, 15 years. And I think what we strive to do is really be in a zero conflict from day one with our client. I think when you align yourself directly with the client's interest, you immediately position yourself in a win-win. And we also are really, really adamant about making the client understand that you are your best investment. We're here really to be a complement to your overall financial plan and your future of your family, your children, your grandchildren. and making sure that we truly understand what their goals and long-term aspirations are and support that.
So I'm assuming that's what makes your company the preferred wealth management team. Is that what makes you guys where I go, hey, obviously I know you guys, so I'm going to pick up and call, but somebody listening is going to say, oh, okay, it's all making sense now.
Yeah, I think what we do beyond, putting ourselves in a zero conflict and putting the client first as far as that they are their best investment is we really truly try to involve the understanding of what is your agenda? What are you trying to do? And first and foremost, everybody wants to make money. We understand that. But I think more importantly, what we do is protect the client from themselves, help manage that risk side of the equation. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. I'll talk about some of the things we're trying to educate our clients and other people about, really the biggest mistakes that they consistently make out there. And, that's really our objective with our clients and what separates us apart from everybody. It's not about product. It's about strategies and solutions specific to that client.
So, Aaron, you hit a big bell with me about that biggest mistake. How do you determine what's an appropriate investment option for your clients?
Well, I got to tell you that is a really big question. Everybody, as I just said, has a extremely different agenda and different goals with what they think is what they expect in return. Some people don't want as much, return as more they're concerned about how do I leave things for my children, my grandchildren. And so I think the biggest thing that we do is listen. And you can learn a lot from somebody about their risk tolerances, what's suitable. And at the end of the day, it comes back to what I just said. It's not about product, and the problem in our industry is that people lead with products, and they don't know anything about the client. And you need to understand the client as best you can and as fully as you can, and that way you can give them the best solutions to what they're trying to do.
Aaron Seehawer is our guest today on the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus. Aaron's company is Concierge Legacy, and we've mentioned creating, protecting, preserving wealth for future generations. You can check out their website at conciergelegacy.com. Chris, we're going to take a time out. When we come back, I'm really curious about the 9 investment pitfalls because, you're a realtor. I'm a sales coach, sometimes a host of your show. Now that you're getting so big, you'll be on Letterman next. But, I always think in the back of my mind, I'd like to do that, but maybe what are some of the pitfalls that are out there?
Honestly, and Van and I were talking about this last night, Van Carlson being Aaron's partner. We're talking about this last night on the phone, discussing Aaron coming on the show. And I think one of the biggest things for me is what they do and what we do. We kind of do the same thing. I mean, they're dealing with investment stuff. And I try to tell people, when you're buying a house or whether you're protecting your money, however you're doing these aspects, the one thing about buying a house, it's very emotional. So it's a two-sided sword, double-sided sword of the fact that we look at it and go, okay, it's emotional. It's an emotional decision, but B, it's also it's an investment. And so we were just discussing, Van and I discussing how different it is when you're dealing with the emotional part of it. When you have, like 2-3 years ago, the market crashes, the market goes from 12,000 to 6,000, and 2 weeks in, it's just like, the sky's falling. And how do you deal with those? And that's kind of why I surround myself with guys like Van and Aaron and Concierge, because they're going to have the answers for you.
And we're going to tell you how you can get their newsletter as well, the Concierge Legacy Advisors, and how you can get your hands on the newsletter. I started subscribing here a few weeks ago, and just a lot of good stuff in there. In fact, as we mentioned, and I think they did that just for you, Chris, one of the headlines about because we hear all this horrible news, and I'm saying home sales jumped by 4.1% in March.
Right.
So they did that piece for you, but I think that is a harbinger of things to come in the real estate world.
Yeah, it is, and this is exactly what we're going to talk about in the fourth segment of this show. We'll discuss what I discussed on Viewpoint this week, and the fact is you need to get good information. You need to not these AP articles, these national articles about what's going on out there. It scares people. It really does, and that's why we talk about get good information. If you get it professionally, we always talk about if you're going to get a remodel done, Call Burton Freeze. If you're going to get a loan, call Kurt Holton over at Prospect. And so we talk about these certain things, these people that we try to use because they're going to do the right thing and they're going to get it done for you. And that's I know that's Aaron and Van's. That's their kind of what they believe too.
Is it okay if I give Tom Morton a plug because he's now redoing our front lawn?
Is he really?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like,
Claudia's thrilled, and I say, hey, thank you very much for that. But Tom's out. Well, I don't know if he's working today, but he's getting all the stuff done. And I think our point, Chris, is that not only are they good at what they do, from Aaron to Van, all down the list, but they're good guys too, and gals.
Well, and that's the point, because everyone's always, people talk about job creation and talk about flow and what's going on around here. And there are good people. There's some great companies that work here. And that's kind of the point of doing this show, is I wanted to bring good quality people together. So, for example, Annette's created a new deal on our website, chrislofthus.com. And I don't know which we have it under the link, but I think it's under preferred vendors. I believe it's under there. And you can click on there, and there's anything from remodel, from Burton's on there, to Concierge, to whatever you want. If it's not on there, we'll find it for you, and I'll search them out.
And speaking of the best, Annette is that. She reminds me that she produces this show as well, that if you've missed any of the segments, you can go on your website and check that all out. It is the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty. We're going to take a time out, get a pen and a paper, or at least something to write on. If it's your dashboard, so be it. Get a Sharpie. It's the 9 investment pitfalls right after this timeout.